think you can put like a. It says like the option to stop it for 10 minutes, and then you just press reject.
Yeah.
Think
Did
it's
you
the
do no
hard
Kanaka?
Kanaka.
Yeah.
If I see them, I probably know them.
He keeps requesting to jump up. The co-host.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
It's good.
I'm thinking for tonight, because I'm going to let you take a bit more of this one, because it's your thing. So,
Yep.
chop a little bit. There we go.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fine. Thank you, Tika. Appreciate that.
And
So-
I'll just follow you for tonight.
Yeah. So, man, like as always, absolutely freaking honored that you're having me on board. I think it's amazing what you're doing, and that you're. The topic for today is, recovering from toxic abuse and psychological abuse. I don't want to specifically say by narcissists because it's very cliche to just call someone a narcissist. There's a lot of people out there that point their finger and say, my ex must have been a narcissist because they hurt me. It's not usually the case. True narcissism comes from childhood traumas, wounds. Being a narcissist is a mental illness, as is. But yeah, recovering from psychological abuse from like relationships. I think that's a heavy topic. So for everyone that's not ready, massive disclaimer. Might bring up some heavy emotions for a lot of people. But that's typically what my channel is all about anyway.
Yeah, I'll say that's why I said I'll let you take over for this one and do a lot more of the talking for it. And
I appreciate that, man. So
take lead.
Yeah, you're welcome to give direction. Like, does that many people know like what is a narcissist or and guys in the chat too, you're welcome to be a part of this. One big circle. Jump in, take part, take over if you want to.
Well, I'm on my phone this time, so people can jump up now.
Good.
No, we'll wait till 7. We'll let everyone join up. So I just started my stream back up for it, and should be good.
That's right. I've got a very small cohort in at the moment too. Thanks for the likes, though, guys. Appreciate that heaps.
What did you get up to?
So there's no but. Oh, bro. A lot and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's just I go through phases where like my biggest struggle is trying to get my sleep corrected, and then I'll have it corrected for like one day.
Yeah.
And then it starts all over again. It starts all over again. Yeah.
I struggle with my sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you always struggled or?
Yeah. It's gotten worse now because of my injuries. But so trying to lay down, like I'll lay in my bed, and I'll sit on my phone. I put my phone to the side, and then I need to watch a movie or something that kept my mind I need to always have my mind focused on other things. As soon as I go in my own head, I'm screwed.
Yep. I'm the same. As soon as I'm trapped in my thought, and that's usually when you're by yourself at God knows what time of the morning.
I just had Sarah, my partner. She just said MPD is a personality disorder, but people can display narcissistic traits without having NPD.
Yes, so everybody in the entire world has narcissistic tendencies and can show narcissistic traits. That's why I say it's very, very difficult to. Everybody can say, what do you call it? Someone can do something narcissistic. We all have. Everybody has. But having to put your finger at someone and say you're a narcissist, maybe I should just kick off by talking about what creates a narcissist and how they sort of spiral into that direction, if that might be what you want to go, what we want to kick off with.
Yeah, I just rubbed my eye. Now it's all red.
You're right, man. You're right.
This convo, Letitia, welcome in, Letitia. Thank you for the follow too.
You're right, man. So a narcissist, and guys, if you're here, feel free to repost and share it out. This is just a mental health chat.
If everyone can repost, share, it'd be muchly appreciated. Just double tap to get it out a bit more. Yeah. It's on both sides. It would be well. Before we start, should we just let everyone know what it's about, what we're doing, and
yeah, go for it. You do that. You do that part.
Hey,
you do that part, and then I'll take over.
Too easy. Welcome in, everyone. As a lot of you know, we do the Mental Health Mondays. So tonight we're going to be talking a bit more about narcissistic mental abuse in a relationship, if I'm correct. A bit more like that.
Yep.
and this ways you can cope through it, how it's caused, what happens. Bradley, he's an expert into it. His whole channel is around this stuff, so he's going to be taking a lot of the lead with it tonight. So yeah, thank you to everyone jumping in, and it's an open discussion as well. So don't feel like you can't send things and we won't talk it out. And if you want to jump up. But anyone that says anything that try to be funny or make fun of someone, this is a safe space. So if you're going to be out of those lines, you will be removed straight away.
Definitely. And I'm just going to quickly do something now that I should have done a long time ago. Stewie, I'm just going to add you as a moderator, because I can wholeheartedly trust that if you see someone talking absolute garbage in the comments, can you block them for me? Just want to create a safe environment for everybody in here, possible. So how a narcissist is created. Narcissists aren't born. Narcissists are born through trauma, like through their lives. Typically through a series of abuse at a young age, right? Add this account, please, brother. Oh, you too. I need Craig. Yep, sorry. So to be a narcissist means somebody has actually been through a core wound. Why can't I add moderator? A core wound through their childhood of abandonment and neglect. Usually, there's the opposite end, but we'll get to that at some point, the golden spoon issue or the silver spoon issue. But it mainly comes from a series of abandonment and neglect. So if I can explain that in real time, the best picture to go about would be to a young person with absent parents and or neglectful or even dismissive or abusive, I guess you can say. So a young person, all they know is the fundamentals of life. My mum, my dad are my safe places, and that's where I go to feel secure. And then it's very common for young people to experience cognitive dissonance to a high degree at a young age, where they're trapped in a position of trying to run away from what creates what makes them scared, but they also try to run to what makes them feel safe, and that usually is the exact same person. So they're mentally trying to run away from mum or dad because it's making them scared, but they're trying to run to mum or dad for that comfort, and that creates a real twisted, cognitive dissonance in a child that can't actually mentally comprehend what's going on for them. That child would typically be what is in the vulnerable category to create NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, as a whole. So I thank you for the follow, guys. So I want you to picture, say for an example, I used a bit of a mock story of a young person who would crave love and attention from their mum and their father. Let's just say that mum's a very abusive, narcissistic individual, all set as is, and the father has become over time. Thanks for the heart me, guys, Raven. The heart me, and let's just say a hypothetical example: the father has become a dismissive alcoholic in the process because they've put up with the behaviors of a narcissist from the parent. So that child now has an abusive mother and a very distant father. Someone can be present and not present at the same time, and that's very difficult to comprehend for a lot of young people. So the young person will say is 5 years old or 6, and they go into school. Let's say mum's never impressed, and all they want is validation, admiration. They want some kind of "I love you" from mum, but mum's never there. Mum's never present. They go to school and they've gotten they've gotten like a C or something. That's hypothetical. They got a C for their subject. They come home, mum's making dinner, and mum says, so how'd you go? And then out of fear, fight, flight, or freeze on being put on the spot, they lie. Mum, I got an A, you'd be proud of me. Then mum's suddenly proud, right? Mum's like, oh my God, you're just like me, just like your mum. I'm so proud of you. That's a false admiration that the young person's getting, but they got it through a lie. But they're still getting the validation that they craved, the love, but they're not connected. But there is always a feeling of guilt that goes with lying, even in a young age. Next thing, that young person would go to school and then run a race, a 100-meter dash, right? And come dead last. Mum couldn't make it though. She comes home, how'd you go, bub? Mum, I came first. Everybody loves me for it. Mum suddenly going, oh my goodness, you are the perfect child. You're just like your mum. Cuddles, kisses. The kid's suddenly getting attention and affection through lies. And so they start to learn that, the connection between lying, being dishonest, and the feeling, the good feel that they get that comes with it is it's okay to blend the two. So, but there's still the guilt and the shame of being dishonest. So then I'm going to put out another scenario. Let's say young old Jessica comes over every Saturday. Mum's been bragging about me winning the race to all of her friends, but Jessica was there and she knows that I'm lying. I can't get Jessica to come over. I need to stop that somehow. So what happens when you start lying? A web of lies has to happen, right? Somehow she needs to stop Jessica from coming to the sleepover that weekend. Mum, Jessica's a bitch. Jessica makes fun of me at school. She's not a nice person, so she's now lying about her friend to keep that lie safe. And then this becomes overwhelming for young people who are still trying to navigate their emotional sort of environment. That's when the dangerous thing happens, typically at that age, where they do what's called a confabulation. So they start to believe their own lies to make themselves feel easier about what they've said and done, which is being dishonest, decline. And then what do you call it? Let's just say that a young person gets a bit older. Their now cultural structure of how they learn how to get love, admiration, and affection is through dishonesty and manipulation. So there's no repercussions for it, but that's how they've built their sort of that's how. Thank you so much, Lou. Appreciate that. But that's how they've built the fundamentals of where they know love, admiration, and affection comes from. So this young person would grow up and start to discover boys or girls and start to enjoy relationships. But how they know, thank you so much for the rose. Thank you, guys. How they know how to get admiration is through lies and manipulation, because they don't know who they are at the core. Like, they're in, from where that confabulation component came in, they are cognitively stuck at that age. So let's say they're 13, 14, they're still cognitively 6, 7 years old because they never got to grow emotionally through that. So they still associate and connect good feelings through I will create a delusion of what the narrative needs to be for me to feel good in this aspect. So through lies and manipulation, let's say they get a boyfriend and they're happy-go-lucky, but it's under a complete false it's under a complete false fundamental. So thank you so much, Nolly. So having that young person in a relationship under a complete delusion, that holds weight, holds gravity, because I always told my parents the truth. Good, exactly. That's healthy. It doesn't, because lies and manipulation, as adults even we know, it carries weight, and you sit on it and you think about it and you got to remember it. So that's what relationships are fully about. Then what happens in relationship, lies get exposed, mask slips. And then they revert back to what they did with Jessica. The he said, she said, well, no, I'm not wrong. You're wrong. You're actually, I didn't cheat on you or anything like that. You treat me wrong. You were actually yelling at me when people weren't looking and stuff like that. They're trying to paint a picture. This is a full-blown narcissist in effect at a young age. And this young person can grow into their, late teens, 20s and 30s and still cognitively be stuck as that 7-year-old, because when pushed into a dark place, between a rock and a hard place, people will naturally revert back to their fundamental sort of safety environment, which is lies, deceit, manipulation, coercive control, isolation, gaslighting. Fully trying to navigate the dictation of anyone and everyone around them to make sure their delusional self-worth isn't popped. Because you also got to remember that when you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with someone with 20 to 30 years of delusions that they built up about themselves in their own head. And that I came third, but I told everyone I came first also comes down to I've succeeded in this area, that area. This is who I am. I'm better than this guy, that guy. Everything they are is fuck all. But they've got to keep up the facade as if they are up here, which holds weight. And that weight holds stress. That stress keeps them in fight or flight 24/7. Then when you become that's for the real part. So now that's how a narcissist is created and grown. Into a narcissist. And you can, translate that in a way that would make sense to you. But I think that that should be good enough. When an adult finds another adult, a narcissist, a genuine narcissist finds another adult to coexist with, they rope them into what's called a co-idealized shared fantasy, because you got to remember cognitively these people are trapped as young people, children, scared, vulnerable, on edge. And a co-idealized shared fantasy is basically where they're saying they try their absolute hardest to relive out their traumas as if it's a fantasy, but they try to do it through you. So where they were scared in their environment, where let's say the mother was abusive and aggressive and the father was extremely dismissive, the power holder in that dynamic was the mother. So they would try to emulate the mother's behaviors through the relationship to basically reignite that trauma that they experience in real time with you, where they're safe because they're the abuser and the abuser isn't the one that feels vulnerable. So they try to do that through you. But with all their core, all the fundamentals that they grew, gaslighting, manipulation, coercion, blame shifting, triangulation, everything, they will do that to try and weaken you as a person so that you can be down here and they can be up here. Because you've got to remember, they always feel down here. That they're up here is a complete facade delusion. They know it's a delusion, and they're just exhausted 24/7, trying their hardest to hold that delusion. So, if you have been affected by a narcissist, there are 4 types: covert, overt. There's covert, overt, malignant, and classic. And the different types. Just want to keep up with the comments. My ex had to be in charge at all times. I couldn't even come back to Bendigo to see my family. See, that comment from one of my viewers in here is a very alerting comment, because what you just explained then was you felt like you couldn't come back to the fundamentals of your home because your home then started getting meshed with toxicity and pain and stress. So you probably got a lot of brain fog in that area as well. The victim of a narcissist typically comes out of the relationship with brain fog, typically comes out of the relationship with brain damage to the amygdala, which is the part that sort of helps process the brainstem fight, flight, or freeze responses to the prefrontal cortex, which helps sort of like navigate through reality check, logic and reasoning. But you'll find that a victim of a narcissistic abuse will find it very difficult to remember a lot of the abuse, because the amygdala is so stressed out and burnt out over time that it actually starts, the brain cells in that area actually start to die off. So as an adult, the narcissist will only value you as good as they value a car. And this is an example I've used in the past. So, and I'll move forward after this part. How a narcissist sees love. They don't see it in authenticity. They see it as delusion. I want you to picture when you buy a brand spanking new car, you're excited, you're happy. This is something that you saved up for. The kilometers are low, you keep it clean every day, you don't leave your McDonald's crap inside of it, you're filling it up and you're making sure that it's shiny. After a while, everybody does it. You start to not care if you leave a cup in there, you're cleaning it every day, turns to cleaning it once every couple of weeks. You know your car now, so you don't fill it up all the time. You can, you got a few kilometers left. You don't need to fill it till Wednesday. You start to not care about it as much. And then you start getting problems. The engine light comes on, the wheels need changing. It's no longer appealing, but 5 years later, you're driving your car and you're looking out the window and you see a whole bunch of other brand spanking new cars in the car yard, the updated versions of what you're driving. And you start to fantasize about being in that car instead. So this car now is obsolete to you, and something shinier over there looks more appealing because it's new and has more value, because what you've done is you've taken down the value of the car that you're driving. So that's how a narcissist sees love in relationships. That's how they value you. They will use you and then basically suck the life out of you until you're next to nothing, and then just move on to something else shiny. We call them parasites for a reason. Sorry, I'm just going to read some comments while we're here. Anything to say, Archie? Anything you wanted to say, Archie?
No, you're very smart. You're very knowledgeable, That's all my chat has said.
I appreciate that, man.
No, you explain it so fucking well. Like, you do really well at explaining.
No, I appreciate that, bro. Just reading some comments. What about living with somebody that's only kind to you when you are nice? And if you are sad or in a bad mood, they lash out on you and make it even worse. Really strictly steering away from ever diagnosing anyone publicly on a platform. Or like, I don't have the qualifications to physically diagnose anyone either. But that is a narcissistic trait in itself. And as I said at the start, we all have narcissistic traits. But that is an element of control. What do you call it? And manipulation to try and push somebody into a corner in a box to make them feel not good enough unless, you jump when I say jump kind of feel. And that's exactly how male malignant narcissists work. How you described it. So the difference between the four: covert, overt, malignant, classic. Your classic narcissists, they're nice people. Like, they're good people. I like working with classic narcissists. Like, they're not bad at all. All narcissists like to look good, smell good, feel good, and be the best person around in front of other people. But your classic narcissists is usually your CEOs or your management. They're nice people to get along with. They're great people. Historically, though, they've had to step on people to get where they are. And they've been able to do that, with by convincing themselves that they were right and everyone else was wrong. I'll get to that in a second, definitely. Then you got your overt narcissist. Everybody's seen them. I'm better than everybody else. I'm the best at whatever. Muhammad Ali, classic overt narcissist. I'm the best in the world. No one can beat me. No one's better than me.
Well, if you're saying, wouldn't that make a lot of people narcissists? I think I'm the best. Yeah. I'm a better, for example, footy teams. I'm a better player than my team. I'm going to be the best. I am the best.
Everyone has narcissistic traits. Yeah. Everybody. And you're allowed to feel that way. You're allowed to feel good about yourself doing that. If you've physically done it, you've earned it, and you're preaching about it, that's not narcissism. That's you being proud of what you are, what you've achieved and overcome. If you're not lying about it, that's literally you taking pride in yourself. But the overt narcissist, I'm the greatest, I'm better than everybody else. I look better than her. They're ugly. That person's fat, disgusting. I'm better than them, blah, blah, all that sort of stuff. I hope I didn't get a violation for that one. Trying to word things properly. That's your overt narcissist. Everybody knows one. The covert narcissist is typically one of the most dangerous narcissists, mainly from a female. The covert narcissist will play victim 24/7. If you are in a covert narcissist life, you can only fit in one category. You're either the victim, the hero, or the perpetrator. You're going to be the victim you're going to be the victim to your ex who hurt you, and they're your hero. Or you're going to be the hero, they're the victim, their ex is the villain. There's always going to be some kind of fucking triangulation between those guys. They're the most dangerous as females, because what they do is they do like to play victim and say, this person hurt me, that person hurt me, this person has, they're the ones that put a lot of good men in jail for little to no reason.
Yeah, Sarah's the difference is she thinks a narcissist lack empathy. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I do definitely agree with that. Lacks empathy. Empathy is sort of selective based on what they, based on where it suits them. Yeah. You'll find a lot of narcissists don't even care about their own kids. They'll only care about their kids where in an environment where it makes them look good. Yeah. But yeah, the covert narcissists, mainly for females, are the ones that sort of like to look good in front of everybody else, but like to play victim also, on the side, and are also, like to put you in a state of confusion where they're going to abuse the shit out of you behind closed doors and then make you feel like they're a victim of you. They'll twist that narrative so quick. And also, sorry, did you want to say something?
No, sorry, Tina sent me some roses. I was saying thank you.
Oh, okay. And then you get your malignant narcissists, who are typically more worse as men, who will use physical aggression, dominance, isolation, coercion to try and get what they want. And they will, use and abuse anyone around them and use physical force to threaten people to stand over them to get what they want. Yeah. Just comments.
Letitia said people pleasers in a sense when it goes to just trying to know what you want other people to see you as, pretty much.
A lot of narcissists, a lot of covert narcissists will come across as people pleasers, and they will purposefully identify themselves as people pleasers because that allows them to run with the victim mentality of the perfect person trying to save the world kind of thing. There's usually a lot more to it. I was made to feel I was going insane, second guessing myself, doubting all things. My biggest struggle at the moment is acknowledging. Yeah, so that's what I was saying before. So you're made to feel insane, second guessing, doubting yourself. That's the exact position that they like to put you in. Once you start to challenge your own reality and put logic second to like emotional reasoning, you're a victim of narcissistic abuse. They've got you in a state of cognitive dissonance on your own, where you're trying to get away from your abuser, but they're also the person that keeps you safe because you've kept that. They've kept you in fight or flight for so long. I felt like I needed to ask my ex permission to do everything just to make him happy. Yep, that's definitely a side effect. The best guy outside. Yep.
No, you talk. You do your one.
The best guy, the best guy outside is the same one you have to walk in on eggshells at home. I feel that. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Sorry, Raj.
I got Sarah. She said, "Ask BPD can also develop from trauma at a young age. What determines a person developing MPD or BPD?"
So BPD is not. So BPD is a very, very, very sort of different spectrum, but can be confused between the two. BPD is more or less an abundance of complex emotions that is internalized within somebody. Somebody that has BPD will go through a state of having a triggering event. Then a period of numbness, and then the triggering event can lead to an outburst within fucking 12 to 24 hours after that triggering event. It's not an instantaneous thing. It can be somewhat proactive, but it's like a built-up aggression that they have. People with BPD typically will lash out at other people, but most of the time they lash out at themselves. What do you call it? The implosion is really big. But one thing that does separate BPD from MPD is people with BPD do have big hearts. They do. They have big hearts. They are caring. They are loving and genuine, but they can switch based on how they've perceived people attacking them. A narcissist, however, is just to the core. To the core, somebody who will navigate their way through to make someone inferior proactively. NPD, so BPD sits outside of a spectrum of what's called the dark triad. So the dark triad consists of three different things. There's psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissistic personality disorder. The reason why they call it the dark triad is because between psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism, you can have traits of all three, as if you were sort of putting a graph together of narcissism that has this much Machiavellianism and this much psychopathy to go with it. They go hand in hand. BPD is borderline personality disorder, Raven. So you can't have a narcissist that isn't also a psychopath and a Machiavelli as well. And that's definitely something people want to look up, because if I can put it in categories and say, if you walked into a room with a psychopath, a narcissist, and someone with Machiavellianism, the difference between the three is if you say, who did it? The psychopath would say, I don't fucking care. The narcissist will say, it wasn't me. It was probably one of those two. I'm perfect. Whereas the person with Machiavellianism goes, whoever the fuck I say did it's the one that did it. Full control. That's one thing that people don't quite understand. That Machiavellianism is way more fucking scarier than MPD ever will be. But yeah.
Can they have all three?
So basically, someone with Machiavellianism definitely will have elements of psychopathy, elements of narcissistic personality disorder, elements of either one, psychopathy, elements of either one. That's why they call it the dark triad. They all fit in that triangle, and it's subject to scale. I mean, you've all seen one of these sort of thing. I'll very, very quickly just. Come on, Bradley.
You're an artist as well, Brad. But you're a little artist over there.
You're right. So I'm just going to say, if this one here is narcissism and this one's Machiavellianism, psychopathy, there's the narcissism, but they can still have this Machiavellianism and this much psychopathy, and vice versa, either way you look at it. So if that makes sense.
So you can still have a little bit of each.
Yeah. But if someone fits predominantly inside that, I'm going to bounce. I'll be back around. Thank you for coming in, Nelly. Absolutely love you being here. But yeah, if you do fit more so in one category, then they will diagnose you into that category. But let's put it this way, right? To be diagnosed with narcissistic, this is how shitty the system is. To be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, you need to be undergoing consistent therapy, for that to occur. You cannot, if you stop going to therapy, you then, by law can't be seen as a narcissist. You can only be a narcissist while doing therapy. The shittest part of that is, narcissists will always see themselves and think of themselves as perfect. None of them are going to go get diagnosed for it, like at all. So it's like, they could be anyone, anywhere.
Yeah, that pretty much.
Yeah. It's one of the most underrated but most talked about personality types that really, really, really should be educated. People should be educated more around. Because you will find them. You will bump into them. You will end up in a relationship with one. And when you do, you'll feel it. You'll fucking feel it. Like, trust me.
Yeah. Anyone got anything they want to add or include? You do really well explaining about this, eh? I'm happy. I said you take control.
No, I appreciate that, man. It's all good. What's the best way to explain it? Like a core trauma, more complex trauma. I know people know exactly how trauma is created, but the example that I give people, and wait for the punchline. Sorry, I've been diagnosed as having bipolar disorder and BPD a few years ago. Jessica, that's That's definitely not it's definitely not something that you should be ashamed of, because there are a lot of people that have that. And you can definitely, that doesn't disallow you to be someone that's empathetic and loving and caring. Those two diagnoses are actually, genuine, mental illnesses that you can navigate, maintain, control, but that doesn't change you as a beautiful person. The longest monologue about how awesome I am, this person loves me, that one adores me, and not a single "how are you" is what ends me. Oh shit. Yeah, no, that's very grandiose. Look at me, I'm the top dog kind of behavior that they've got going. So if I could explain trauma, this is the best way I've learned it, and especially when it comes to cognitive dissonance. Everybody, when the door slams behind you, and this is how I explain it, is narcissism on the spectrum? No. So if you're talking about if you're talking about spectrum as in neurodivergence, no, definitely not. It's still a lot of studying to happen in that area. So let's say the door slams behind you, Argy. Everybody in the world has that response, like shit, like that, right?
Yeah.
So, and then what happens then is your missus walks in and she's like, oh shit, sorry, the wind slammed the door. And you're like, oh, okay. Your brain's just going, yeah. So basically what's happening is when the door slams, that's your fight, flight, or freeze response. That comes from the brainstem behind the head here. That's the first part of your brain and the quickest part of your brain to ever acknowledge anything, risk. So basically your door slammed and you went like that. Expectation comes up here and then reality is down here. Oh, it's my missus. She just came home with the pizza. Hey, Coda, thank you so much. Missus came home with the pizza. Thank you. Oh, so it takes that 1 second for the brainstem to communicate with the prefrontal cortex, which is logic and reasoning, that goes, oh, it's just my missus. Yeah. Just calm down. So expectation, reality, boom, calm down. Thanks, babe. Sorry. Now, same scenario, boom, door slams. You go, whoa, shit. And you turn around and the next thing you see is there's a man in a trench coat, dripping in blood, standing there staring at you. And you've gone, what in the actual fuck? So your fight, flight, or freeze went off, and then logic comes in a second later. Expectations up here, and reality fucking meets it at the same time. That now becomes a trauma. That's now embedded inside of you. And so later down the track, every time you hear a door slam, it's not going to exactly bring you back mentally to that moment, but your emotional memory will immediately come back to that fight, that scared moment of you being trapped inside that room with that person there. So that is that is basically, in a sense, the simplest and stupidest way to go. That is what trauma is, how trauma is created. So from there, let's say that fight, flight, or freeze goes up when you're in a relationship with these people. They go through cycles. They go through absolute cycles through the stages of where they're trying to diminish you. And in those cycles, you're going to know it's happening as it happens, and your fight, flight, or freeze is going to be up here the entire time, meeting the expectation, meeting the reality. Every time they talk, you're going to be on edge, trying to navigate that response. You're going to find yourself waking up early, moving around, trying to be proactive, doing the dishes, making the bed, cleaning the house. Yes, sir. No, sir. How high do you want me to jump, sir? Trying your hardest to proactively navigate how to please them all the time, 24/7. Until you exhaust yourself by finally finally they go to bed, and you're like, now I can finally de-stress, but I have to go to bed now because now I've got to wake up and do the same shit over and over tomorrow. Imagine living like that for weeks, months, if not years, in a relationship with somebody that you feel that tension, that fight, flight, or freeze from how they can respond from something simple. People in relationships with narcissists go through this, and it does so much damage to the brain because they start to develop, what's that syndrome called? What is that? Why did I forget it right now? They start Stockholm syndrome? No. Where they start to develop a syndrome where they start to love their abusers. Stockholm, yeah, I got it right. Perfect. They start to go through this almost Stockholm syndrome where they start to love their abusers, and they can't get away from it because they're what's called trauma bonded to these guys. And a trauma bond is so much more powerful than love because it's an addiction on its own. And what their addiction is they're addicted to the love reward cycle they get. Every time they go through the abuse, there's a tiny bit of love at the end of it, and that's what they cling to, and they try their hardest to navigate day in, day out. From the start of the day, they're getting abused all the way through the end, and then old Larry over there is in the mood now. So the victim would go and please Larry, and then Larry's happy, and then they get the cuddles and attention and the sex to go with it, and then they feel that reward and that relief. It's the same concept of gambling, it's the same, like pressing the buttons, watching your money go down, feeling that stress and then anxiety, and then, oh shit. Then bang, the lights go off and you go back up again. That relief feeling, and they get addicted to it. That's why people are addicted to gambling. So they're trauma bonded, and it's way, way more difficult to leave a trauma bond than it is to leave actual love. I don't know if there's a lot of people in here that are silent but agreeing. You're welcome to keep talking, guys, as we talk. Welcome in, BHLs. And what version of the person you're going to have by the way they breathe. Yeah. After you've been with one, you can pick it from a fucking mile away. You really can. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. But yeah, so there is serious, trauma bonding is extremely serious with a narcissist because it is an addiction and it is very hard to leave. You're leaving a reward system that you are so addicted to with Stockholm syndrome that you actually become a victim of yourself in the process. So is there anyone here that's felt that or been through that? Or understand what I'm saying as a real, and this is. Hey?
Yes, 100%. I would have kept going back if he didn't chuck me to the side for someone else.
Coda, 100% agree. She's saying it's also very hard to leave someone who is a narcissist because of the Stockholm syndrome. Yep, definitely agree with that one. And for the person on your side too, yes, sometimes you absolutely need to rely on them to make the decision to be bored with you to go away. However, me, 100%, Raven. Well, Lisa, welcome in. There's a cycle through all narcissistic abusive relationship. The cycle goes in 4 different directions. So the first is the love bombing, and it goes in a pattern. Love bombing, and then devaluation, discard. Hey Lisa, love bombing, devaluation, discard, Hoover. So the love bombing is typically done at the start of the relationship, where they are trying to work you out and they're trying to navigate who you are so that they can best become you. And then, make you feel as though you've met the perfect person for you. So they will find your likes, everything you like, they like. All your interests, it's their interests. Your history, you poor thing, I'm there for you. That would never happen with me, you know? They will go through hell and high waters to make sure you feel validated and loved, but they will go overboard.
There, it said mirror you. Pretty much.
They will mirror you. Mirroring and matching is 100% a neuro-linguistic programming strategy that they have embedded in their heads that they do so authentically. It's crazy. But once they've got you, they start to devalue you. And the devaluation component, they put you in a place where you are dependent on them. And this is where I'm getting to, so you can't leave. Once they've mirrored you to the point where you feel like you've met your perfect person, they then start to devalue you. They do it insidiously. They'll nip at you. This is more the coverted narcissists. They'll take a nip. I'll just do it as a male with a female narcissist. Like, you can lovey-dovey, everything's all happy, and then you can walk over a month, 2 months, 3 months into your relationship and say something nice, and thank you so much, auntie. Nice, like, hey, do you want help with the dinner? It's like, oh, about time you fucking asked me for help. You're a lazy prick. Like, that sort of stuff like that. And then, I even feel terrible paraphrasing stuff that they say. Then you go, whoa, what happened there? And they're like, I'm sorry, I had a bad day at work. Yes, of course you can help. But what they've done there is they've poked you and seen how you reacted and then gave you love. And then they've, tested the waters. You'll notice that more frequently, they then poke you the same. But at some point, they're going to take that little tiny step further and poke you more, withdraw. Poke you more, withdraw. Abuse you, withdraw. That 1 minute can turn to half an hour real quick, half an hour to 1 hour. And then after a while, they do it in a way where you actually feel like you're the perpetrator. You feel like you're the person that hurt them. You're the person that's made them the way they are now. Because when you met them, they were perfect. When you met them, they were not abusive. They were great. They were loving. They were caring. They were kind. They were beautiful, kind, welcoming. Thank you so much. But then slowly but surely over time, they've turned into something else. And you start to question, what am I doing wrong? What is it that I'm making them like? You start to think that it's your fault. So you start to try harder. You become an anxious attachment through these people. You try harder and harder and harder to get the validation, but they almost like an avoidant attachment. They push away and then pull you back in, push away, pull you back in. And this will happen to the point where they've just, in a cold way, abuse you, to put themselves in a position where they can abuse you from sun up to sundown, but give you slight rewards along the way, breadcrumbs, like, just basic shit like sex. And this is where you keep quiet too, because you feel like you're the problem. You feel like you're the one that's turned them into this. And so you're not telling your friends, you're not telling your family, you're not telling your parents, you're not telling your workmates. You're trying to protect them from anybody thinking that they're a bad person, because you don't realize that you're actually in love, like you're trauma bonded to them at this point.
Yeah, that's what trauma bond.
Trauma bonded. Lisa, thank you so much. I felt like I'm the person that caused the grief, and that's how they do it. They project it onto you to make you feel like you're the bad guy. Thank you so much, Khan. And they make you feel like you're crazy. Yes. And then simply not the case. No, you always got to remember, reality is reality. I will never let anyone fuck with my reality. But after the discard will come, after the devaluation comes the discard. Now, let's talk about like a female narcissist through the discard, and this is typically any narcissist, but a good one will be even when you tell they don't believe you because he's so nice and perfect. Exactly, because you built them up, you've allowed them to build themselves up to your friends and family.
It also goes back to them being on the outside, them letting people see what they want them to see. So behind closed doors, they're not seeing the real you. Exactly,
and they're good at playing victim, fucking good at playing victim. And the devaluation typically, like, this is where a covert narcissist is dangerous. Like I said earlier, you're in this car, right? Your car's getting shitty. You see a new car, you like that new car. They see a new man, they like that new man. Handsome, smells good. This guy's got that charm. I want that. I don't want this. So, there will be micro conversations. And that's why I feel like micro conversations outside of a relationship is an element of cheating. I do believe that. Because there will be micro conversations along the way, and they will create a narrative where, they're trying their hardest to be the victim to you being the abuser, and the new person trying to be the hero. So what do you call it? You're now an abuser. What do you call it? You're now the bad guy. They're sweet and innocent, and you treated them like shit. And they're actually starting to see this guy as a hero because this guy's always there for them, and this guy's now not like this one, which is you. So they'll make you out to be the worst person in the world to everybody around them, so they can discard you, break up with you, and no one's going to question them why. They love being the victim to your abuse. Love it, because if it gives them a narrative to be like, to get empathy from fucking everyone. It's a dictatorship mentality. So they will make you out to be the abuser so they can leave you, and then everybody hates you. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to him. Because he used to treat me like shit. He's probably going to say this to you and that to you, but it's not true. This is what really happened. And then, the new man is the hero. And so no one questions why they ran to that person, because, she didn't just fuck him off and get with him. She fucked him off and then he was there for her. So sort of thing like that. And then there's a lot of cases where these kind of people end up in fucking court, like with false allegations against them, to shut them up. It's ridiculous how the system works in that case. So, that's the discard. But there's always a fucking Hoover, because once a narcissist feels like they own you, they feel like they own you forever. Hey, Ethan, thank you so much for the heart, man. A narcissist will feel like they own you forever. You're a part of their package. You're a part of their supply. So it usually doesn't take long for the new supply to realize what they're going through. And not all people can get roped into that co-idealized shared fantasy bullshit. Because, so how do you deal with with being in this situation? So how do you deal with being in this situation with someone? We'll get to that one for sure. Just went through this. Fuck, I'm sorry, man. My heart goes out to you. So you conform. They've trained you. They've manipulated you. They've molded you into exactly what they want you to be like, look like, feel like, smell like, everything is. And now they've got to start fresh. They have, they want that back, but they only want you now because they can't have you. You start to do good for yourself. You start to go to the gym, you're starting to smile. People are caring for you. You're now shining again. So they do things, weird shit. They'll create fake accounts. They'll monitor you from a distance. They'll try and talk to your friends I just wonder how he's going. I do care about him. I hope you're having a good day. Because they know that's going to get back to you. There's little moments of seedlings just dropping it off to you until they feel comfortable enough to come forward and actually fucking stand in front of you. So once that Hoover's done, we then go straight back to the first part, the love bombing. I only felt that way because, my friend told me that you were a bad guy, and I felt so bad because I actually started to believe him. And now, I can't believe I gave up my one true love for this. And they give you this whole fucking bullshit, anything that's going to mirror what you want from them to get you back. And then you're going to go through the same process again. And this will typically happen 7 or 8 times before somebody finally says enough is enough. I'm still trying to get a sense of reality after the kind of relationships. It's insane, isn't it? It's the brain fog that comes with it. It's crazy. It is a mental health condition. Is it a mental health condition or just a personality trait? Can they change? It is a mental health condition, narcissistic personality disorder as a whole. A narcissist, anybody can change, but empathy is not something people can be taught at all. Empathy has to come from the heart. So a narcissist can learn and portray someone as good as they want, but you put anyone against a rock in a hard place, they will revert back to their fundamental core behaviors to keep themselves safe. A narcissist will just revert back to exactly who they were. So going back to what you said earlier, Lisa, it is definitely possible to move away from them. But you got to understand, leaving a narcissist is the equivalent to, stop doing the really bad, heavy stuff, because of the dopamine fixes that you get. So, 13, I'll quickly read those comments after I get to this part. So Like I said, the addiction comes from the reward cycle of abuse, love, abuse, sex. Like, it's an addiction. What do you call it? What do you call it? The trauma bond has, what do you call it, from psychiatrists been said that it's nearly as hard to get away from as a heroin addiction. Because the reality is the only way to overcome an addiction is to isolate yourself from the product. And it's very difficult to isolate yourself from a product that keeps coming to you nonstop. What do you call it?
You got a house with them, you got things with them. It's very hard to get away from them. So
Majorly. But it can be done. It can be done. This is typically where, safety can come into play. Use the authorities appropriately. If there is tangible evidence that you are being abused, go to the police. These resources can be used for you. There are Relationships Australia. There are women's shelters. There are places for people escaping this kind of trauma bond. And there are people who do do assessments on your, because it is a serious fucking thing. There's companies that will take in you and your kids to get you away from these kind of people. There isn't that much for men, and that's the hardest fucking pill to swallow. There isn't that much for men. And I think that's where RG sort of stepped forward and wanted to start these kind of chats for Mondays. For the mental health reason, 13 months on from the end of the relationship, he's still financially controlling me. See, you're a supply to them. And once you are their supply, they will never, ever, ever think that you don't belong to them. I've severed all ties with everyone involved. That is the best way to go about it. Thank you, Dakota. Lisa Queen, of course. The hurt is still there,
as well,
but necessary for me to grow. Growth past narcissists, you will never feel a more of a emotional growth than what you will after you've finally said no to your abuser. So born that way or learned behavior. So it's then no narcissists are born a narcissist. Sorry, Lisa, you came in late. I went through an entire monologue on how a narcissist is created at the start of this chat. But a narcissist is born through trauma. It is a trauma response. It is a fight, flight, or freeze that never goes away from a very young age. Orange door. I'm not sure what orange door means. Do they know they're doing it and that it's wrong? Yes. So how I can comfortably say they know they're doing it and they know it's wrong, why don't they do it in public? Or why don't they do it when people are watching? They know it's wrong. What do you call it? They will never do it in front of other people, like ever. So they do know it's wrong. I escaped my ex, but he still wanted to be friends, but I told him to get stuffed. Good. That would have been the most empowering feeling in the world. They are support services in Vic, sorry. There are? Good. Orange Door. Orange Door is a support service in Victoria. Thank you so much, Cheeky. That makes sense. Thank you, Lisa. RG. Look, what I was saying before, yes, women do have an abundance of support at the moment. That's how, like in Australia, there are some internationals in here. I know women, do have services at the tip of their fingers. The unfortunate thing that we do go through as a country at the moment is there is next to nothing for men at all. I know a lot of men will call a support line and say, I need help. I'm being abused. I'm struggling. They'll say, well, what did you do? Whereas a female can go, look, my husband's yelling. I don't know how to take this. We're going to send the police to you immediately. You need protection. Let's get you safe. It's a very different dynamic. Very, very, very different dynamic. Which does need to change because unfortunately there are a lot of men. There are a lot of men that are being incarcerated unfairly and unfortunately buried early because of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, there is. Welcome in, everyone. Guys, does anyone want to jump up actually and talk about something maybe they've gone through?
Anyone wants to jump up at all?
Got some questions they want to bring up and talk. I haven't been able to do it because I've always been on my PC, but I've jumped on the phone. So, Brad, thank you for taking over for today as well. You've explained it really well, really well.
I appreciate that heaps, man. I appreciate that. It made me feel in control when I told him to get stuffed. as I knew I needed to say it to him. And I bet you, like I was saying, correct me if I'm wrong, it took a few cycles for you to get there, didn't it? Because it usually takes up to 7. And for what I want to say to everyone, don't ever hate yourself, or blame someone else if they go back to an abuser, because usually people do go back at least 7, on average 7 times before they finally say enough is enough. You can never judge someone for being addicted. 109, Ethan. Don't really understand what that is. But if there is no violence, is it taken seriously? Yeah, coercive control. In Australia, Lisa, coercive control has fallen under the Criminal Act. They do take it very, very, very seriously.
The coercive alien just came out, that one.
It just came out, yeah.
Pretty sure that one just came out. One of them just came out, a new one. I can't remember which one it was. Was it the coercive control?
Coercive control has just come out now, only like 6 months ago, and it's just fallen under criminal. But it is identifiable.
Reactive abuse common from dealing with a narcissist.
Majorly. They will poke until you say fuck this, and then you're the bad guy. How dare you swear at them, yell at them. But reactive abuse is typically how a lot of men, as an example, end up in jail. They will be abused to the point where they pop, and then they're in jail because of it. Like, yeah, it is very, very common. You learn how to deal with them after yelling at them for years. Ooh, it's just, I see at the same time, you shouldn't have to feel like you need to deal with it. That's the thing. It took up to Jessica. Yep. Thank you. Exactly. And, 7 years before you finally built up the courage to say, fuck them. Yeah. And that's understandable. Fuck. I just, left once. In the UK, it's not really talked about. It really should be. I think the UK is definitely in need of that sort of area. Yes.
On my side, anything you want to bring up?
Financial abuse can be identifiable as coercive control. Or call them out. You're the bad guy and play victim. Ethan, exactly. So from what we know, how the system works is, in a civil sense, this is what's happening in Australia for anyone that's overseas. In a civil sense, so in 2019, the courts, the Australian courts made it so that women could not be prosecuted for perjury in the civil courts, family and domestic violence. Men could be done for perjury, but women could not be prosecuted for perjury because they wanted to create something where females weren't stopped from coming forward and talking about their abuse out of fear of not being able to prove it. So from there, yes, matters skyrocketed because nobody needed evidence. And even if they were caught out, they couldn't be done for lying. 2022, October 2022, the government brought out a grant of up to $15,000 in Queensland specifically for women leaving domestic violence. So when in 2019, when they abolished it, so they made it so that females could not be prosecuted for perjury in a courtroom, 2022, they actually got $15,000 for it also. So what do you think a lot of narcissists did? They broke up with people just to go and get that $15,000 so that they can point their finger and have no repercussions thrown at them. That was then reduced to $5,000, but now they mix with Relationships Australia, where they're starting to get coupons and stuff for new couches, fridges, beds, and all that sort of crap. But they're being rewarded. Yeah, but they're being rewarded. Yeah, 10,000 was 15, now 10. So basically they're being now a narcissist, a female narcissist. They don't just have to break up with you. They can break up with you, use the court system to shut you the fuck up so you can't stand up for yourself, and get $15,000 for it, or $10,000 now. It's a perfect combo. Since 2022, October, family and domestic violence matters in Australia skyrocketed over 70% within a month. And the incarceration rate was insane. So now I think it's something like 80% of people incarcerated in prison are in there for family and domestic violence matters, unproven, but they're in there on remand to protect the families. And then and then about 60% of them end up walking out with no evidence still being able to come forward about them to begin with, which is fucking ridiculous. It's become a massive epidemic in Australia.
What's
Thanks for the
what's the best way to handle a narcissist if you have to continue dealing with them?
grey rocking. So grey rocking is a tactic that grey rocking was a tactic that was sort of coined for the people that were had to maintain a relationship with these people through children or assets. For an example, it's a completely fucking rigged signal system. Yes. So grey rocking is basically pulling yourself away emotionally and not giving anything. Grey rocking is no. Okay. People that have kids, if a narcissist messages about the children, you can send a message back saying, unless it's about the kids, please don't bother me. Straightforward, simple, no emotion. Yep. Okay. Thanks. When you give as little as possible, all you're doing is you're going to piss them off so bad. You're going to piss them off a lot because you're not giving them what they want, which will help expose who they are to other people. But it would also help them it would also help you maintain that control where you're not going to allow yourself to be vulnerable for them. In the area of where children are involved, grey rocking is perfect because it'll either do two things. If you're grey rocking the oppositional parent completely, minimal gestures, keeping it about the kids only, and never giving an element of emotion, you're either prompting the other parents to do two things. Try to out-parent you, which is fantastic. Good. Be a good parent to that kid. Out-parent me. Do your best. Or try their hardest. They'll go off and try and treat you like dirt. When they do that, it's also good for you because they're exposing themselves in real time, who they truly are in front of people. So grey rock, grey rock, grey rock. 100%. Yep. Just maintain that dignity. See yourself as a person of worth. See yourself as worthy. See yourself as dignified, and don't let anybody sort of take that light from you. And walk the walk and talk the talk as somebody. That can't be fucked with. And that's but also kind and caring, but almost emotionally numb to that person. Yep. Yep. All right. Thank you. Bye. That's it. Not how you been.
To them. Don't tell them much personal things about yourself. And like you said, if you've got a kid, keep it to the kid. Don't open up about yourself.
Yes, always leave emotions aside. So Raven,
it gives them an opportunity to jump in about your life and try to support you as well.
Definitely. Raven, if you have to continue living with them, that in itself is a form of relationship that is ongoing. I love Stewie. Stewie's coming up and saying hello. That in itself is a form of still being inside that relationship, but you can definitely maintain that grey rock stance in all aspects of being with a narcissist. When they start being narcissistic or abusive, shut down. Grey rock.
Yeah.
What do they have to go with? Hey, Stewie.
Hey guys, I just thought I'd come up and share a little bit of my background. And so I've been through 2 marriages and both failed. So I probably should talk about the first marriage and that alone. And it was a pure narcissist marriage. And it's taken me a lot of time to talk openly about it, and I thought tonight on this platform would be an opportunity for me to talk a little about it. I remember at the time when I left, the relief that I felt from finding the inner strength to remove myself from that was it was matched only by the enormous hurt of leaving my children. And look, that is something I've never really spoken to the children about. And as a parent, I've always believed that in any situation, regardless of what happens as parents, you should never colour your children with what mum and dad have been through. And I have found it very difficult to seek help, to talk about it. And it's only over a number of years that I've navigated my way through it. And a better understanding of how to deal with trauma and a better understanding of how the mind works, since we spend our whole existence curating in our mind how we live and our thought process. So I guess to cut a long story short, and there is an upside to this for people who are experiencing this or have been through this and are still dealing with the mental scarring.
Yeah.
The change is possible. And the first step in that process is to acknowledge that you need to speak to someone. Awareness precedes change.
Yes. Yes. And I think last week we touched on that. RG had an amazing point. And so my point was last week, if you can identify you're not in control, you need to let someone else take the wheel. But RG also said some people aren't ready for that, and that's understandable as well. So I think what you're saying is right. The change, there's you need to come forward and you need to do something for you. If you you can't bottle things up, but you got to make sure you're ready for it. That's one thing I agreed with RG on last week. So yeah, you're definitely right. Their story.
But even now, just coming up here to talk, the trigger and the emotions, it comes back, and and I guess that's an ongoing thing with having dealt with a life experience. You're looking back in the rearview mirror the whole time as that experience passes, but it stays. There's something that stays with you, so.
It's like hand in hand, almost as if it's a form of CPTSD, where when you're talking in terms of post-traumatic, which is a physical diagnosis, but you can line it up similarly with CPTSD, where you may not necessarily have flashbacks of the triggering event, but you will have emotional flashbacks that bring you back to the feeling that occurred while you were in that deep, we call it that trap state. And that's a phenomenon. That's a phenomena that is still being explored. But the diagnosis there typically comes down to CPTSD with people. There's no diagnosis here. I'm saying in line with, that's the same sort of concept.
Yeah. So.
But it's amazing that the emotional memory can also kick in at any point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I always encourage others to surround yourself with builders, not destroyers. It's the builders in our circle that help shape our future, regardless of age.
Majorly, I think as you get older, the wrong people start to fall off and the right people stay, and you start to get more and more of the right people, and you start to build your building blocks. Your fundamentals sort of start coming up in the right area. It's that's definitely something. Hey?
And not everyone deserves our energy, neither.
No,
protecting our energy helps protect our peace.
Yes, protect your peace at all costs. Like we said earlier, like I said, it's a big trigger warning for this conversation because it is quite heavy hitting. But yeah, protecting your peace is one of the most important things to do if trying to navigate through complex emotions that a narcissist can bring to you. Because when relationships are fucking everything, and that's what a lot of people don't really get when they're growing up. Relationships are everything. Even if your friendship, your work relationships, your friendships, your people that you see every day, a person that you see at the shop every day that you say hello to and buy milk from or something like that, that's a form of relationship and comfortability. Imagine any one of those people turning on you at any second and abusing you or treating you like absolute trash. It fucking affects you,
And so the final message I have for you boys and anyone else who's in here this evening is You know, don't feel isolated. Don't feel alone. Reach out.
Yes.
As humans, we're not meant to live in solitude. So there are people that are there to help, to listen, to understand, and wrap our arms around. Look, and so, there are no easy fixes at times. But again, it's realizing, in my mind, it's realizing that you need to make change. That's the start of the process. So,
Majorly, my best mate was the strongest man I've ever met in my entire life. He was always there for everybody. He did everything he could to make sure everyone was comfortable and happy and loved and cared for. He was my absolute idol. He was 16 years older than me. For 10 years, we were best friends.
yeah.
The day I got that phone call that he unalived himself was the most shocking feel to the core, because he was there for everybody else but himself.
Yeah.
And I've definitely in that area become a massive advocate for it. You need to speak up. You need to talk about it. And yeah, I think that's where I sort of resonated well with what Archie said last week about some people just aren't ready. Neither was he.
No.
And unfortunately, I stood next to his mother at his funeral.
Yeah.
You know? So it's more about the advocacy, is to say, guys, speak up. You know, you're not alone. It might be very fucking hard. But yeah, there are people out there.
The biggest step is speaking up, and that's the first step. Pretty much is the first step is yourself realizing you need to go talk to someone, and then the second step is actually talking to someone and making that big move. And Stewie, you coming up, you know, talking about that's a big step as well, because it's on a social platform for people to talk about that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Stewie here is someone I've known for several months on this app, and I absolutely adore him and everything he's doing for himself and others. Trust me, and I'm grateful to meet you, Stewie. So fucking grateful.
You guys are doing a grand job with this live stream. I've enjoyed sitting in on this and just absorbing a better understanding of the thought process that goes with narcissistic behavior. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to jump back down into the audience. Bless you and everyone else in here. And continue with the live stream, guys.
I appreciate that. I think we're just about finishing up now, anyway. Unless is there anything more? Anyone else from your side, RG, or anything that you want to bring up? Or thank you for coming up, Stewie.
You've done an amazing job talking about it. Like I said, I wanted you to let you control this one and talk about it, because it's under your belt, and you've done. I've learned things from you as well from tonight, so I appreciate that. Anyone in my chat want to jump up and talk? So can you have a successful relationship with a self-aware narcissist?
Can you have a success? Yes, but it would be on their terms and conditions. You can have a successful relationship with a narcissist if you're prepared to completely conform to their standards. Are you okay with being cheated on and then being blamed for it? Ask yourself that question. And if you can confidently say that you're like, that's a scenario, but ask yourself this: are you okay to be cheated on and be blamed for it at the same time? That's pretty much the exact same concept of because you can't, because that's an example of what these people will put you through. Yeah. People, once a narcissist has shown you their true colors, believe them. Don't let them make up a whole bunch of excuses as to why they did what they did and acted the way that they did. Once they show themselves, believe them.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else for the night. Anyone on your side?
We're empowered to be happy and live peacefully. Great work, Stewie. From Ethan. Appreciate you being here, Ethan, man. Thank you. Hugs for Stewie. Well done, Stewie. I wish I had spoken about my ex a little bit sooner than I did. Jessica, that's beautiful. And honestly, from me to you too, thank you, Stewie, for coming up. That's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very tough topic that not many people would feel they're ready to openly speak about. So thank you, and that's quite normal. Tease,
Sarah
thank you so
said
much for that
she
happening.
follows a couple narcissists who talk about their experience and are working on themselves. Do you think they can change?
Wait, sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Sarah follows a couple of narcissists who talk about change, like their experiences and working on themselves. Do you think they can change?
You're talking about like the self-aware narcissist, or are you talking about like?
I'm going to take a guess because that was the other question she said about the self-aware narcissist. I'm going to say yes.
Okay, and the other one might be like, so you also got to remember a narcissist wants all the attention. A narcissist, Ethan, thank you so much, bro. That was so nice of you. A narcissist wants the attention. A narcissist wants all eyes on them. So that they're on this platform all together is a form of look at me, look at me, look at me. I do like the I think it's called the Batwolf or whatever his name is. I think there's a diagnosed narcissist that talks about it on here. He made one video that I watched and went, there it is. He basically said, what do you call it? I can talk about my recovery all day and talk about how much I'm a narcissist and how much I want you guys to love me. I'm getting your attention, aren't I? And I'm making money off you. So I'm here, like, I'm here for me, not you. He just went straight on and on about it. I was like, at least he's honest. At least he's honest. And even the self-aware narcissist, we messaged each other a few times back and forth. I think he's a decent dude. Like, I don't mind him. There's narcissists everywhere. We had a few chats about doing like a one-on-one chat, anti-narc coming together kind of thing and having a big talk. But even him himself would openly say, I'm getting the attention that I crave from this platform. And now that if people know I'm a narcissist, who gives a shit? Like,
saying, what can you do to help a person who can't see they're in a relationship with a narcissist?
You can't. If with all honesty, you just need to be there for them when they fall, because they will fall. But if you're actively trying to pull them away from their relationship, what you're doing, like I said, that you're pulling them away from their addiction, and it's going to, I can guarantee you now, you're going to be the one exiled from that friendship, and you won't be able to be there for them when they fall. But just, you can say something to them. When it happens, call me.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Look, it's going to happen. When it happens, just know I'm here for you.
Can you try to hint it to them? Can you try your best?
Yeah. You can be straight up with them and you can be blunt with them. But if you try to peel, like, you can never try and peel them away from them, because it's never going to work. That's a trauma bond. It's like fucking glue. But you can literally say to them, just say to your friend, look, like, hey, look, I think you're in a relationship with a narcissist. I just, like, you do whatever you want, but I just come straight to me when you're ready.
Thank you
when
so
you're
much.
ready.
Thank you so much.
So, yeah. Basically let them know when let them know when, put the ball in their court. When you're ready, I'll be here for you regardless.
Let them make a choice on their own when they're ready.
That's exactly what happened to you. No, Ethan, trust me. I get it, man. I get that. Perfect. Well, anything else, Archie?
I've got nothing. We're doing it again next week.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, everyone that jumped in. We'll sort the topic out. I might give people a bit more notice again, like we did for the first one, what our topic's going to be. So maybe we'll discuss a bit later what topic we want to do it about, what we want to do. We'll message it and have something a bit more set up. And then when we do tell everyone what topic, I want people to send stories through what you guys have gone through around it, so we can talk about it. And hopefully us doing this will bring people wanting to jump up and talk a bit more, because it's the whole purpose is for people to talk, let it out. So once you talk about it and let it out, it's the first step, as I've said. Like, it's the best feeling that you'll ever have. And that is our goal. A lot of people go through depression, anxiety, have gone through these narcissistic relationships, DV. So we want to help everyone that's gone through it. Even if you're in it, you got an out of it, you never know who you're helping that's sitting in here listening. So
majorly. Definitely, that's the best point. Like I said to you, man, I started my channel in hopes to just help one person, just one fucking person. I think I'm sitting at 96K now. So,
Yeah, 100%.
wait, I may jump up at some point. I may jump up at some point. A 3-month point now. Okay. Well, whenever you're ready, Ethan, as soon as you request it, jump up. Thank you everyone for listening and sharing. If you're going through this, please know you are loved. Says that's beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. All right. Call it there.
Too easy, Bradley. Thank you so much for jumping in and doing this with me again. Muchly appreciated.
Appreciate you, my bro.
I know you did the whole thing for the night. It was all on you, so thank you so much.
It's honestly, man, you're creating the space, and that's more than most. Thank you.
Thank you heaps.
All right. You take care, bro. Bye.